Hi everyone. Hi Anand. Hi Bill and hi team. Great to have you here. And here comes Paula as well. Actually, I spoke with Paula just the other day.
Oh, nice.
Yes. I forgot to tell you. Hi Paula. Hi Koa. So great to see you everyone. All right. So, well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I'm actually super excited about this conversation with Hanshi. Every conversation I had with Hanshi has always, enlightened me in somehow. And I know that you know the value of being here yourself. So, it is really, really a pleasure to have him with us tonight and just, take the opportunity to ask him questions. So, is everyone familiar with Zoom? Just put your hand up if you're familiar with Zoom. Awesome. So there's a chat box in there as well. You can, place your questions in there as well if you want, or, if you want to express something, make sure to do that. And then, I'm sure that Hanshi will take some questions at the end as well. Here comes Dominic as well. All right, Koa, I see your smiley face. Awesome, that's right. And
Dominique,
Marshall,
oh, wow. That's from
Marshall is on
England,
his
eh?
way.
Isn't that wonderful?
All right, so I'm just gonna give it just another minute just to have a few more people joining. Just so Marshall coming through as well through the registration. Here we go. This is gonna be so much fun. We are having a party. We can do a party now. A karate party. Awesome. All right. So who's having a good evening tonight?
Yeah, we all are. We here with you, Christina.
We are about to make it even better. So I'm sure many of you had your share of challenges, right, in life. And I'm so happy to have the opportunity to ask Hanshi a couple of questions tonight about how to overcome human challenges. And Hanshi, how did you start? How did your karate journey started? Let's just start with the beginning. Like, what drove you towards what was the pull towards karate? What got you started?
Well, firstly, Christina, I want to thank you very much for making this effort and the time, sacrificing the time to have the Zoom meeting to take place. You're doing such a terrific job. You may not agree with me. You're a great presenter and a really good speaker. You do it so well. Congratulations, Christina. Fantastic. Just love what you do. So, my life has been a great challenge. It was like the divine has taken me and placed me in South Africa to be born, to meet all the challenges, physical challenges, where I had to learn about defense and learn how to protect myself. I grew up that the divine has put me into a place like this where I developed this, right? But I couldn't really defend myself except learning a bit of wrestling and boxing. So I then traveled to Japan to learn this art. And, as it played out, I had an incredible teacher. Oh, I would say teachers, because not one teacher, but many teachers in Japan, one after the other, and so on. So I had many teachers who were just like it was fitting for me to be with them. It was fitting for me to learn the things that they were sharing. So I've been lucky in that respect. So I developed this art, learned this art, went back to South Africa as a qualified teacher, teaching this art, no political problems. Everything was smooth. My dojos were packed. You know, in one dojo alone, I had about 250 students. We had to occupy 3 floors. People were coming from everywhere to learn karate from me. But there was something different in the way I was teaching it. There were schools all around, but people were attracted to my teachings for whatever reason. I think at the outset, I started with values, teaching values and so on. And so I think that kind of thing attracted people to come to my school and be learning karate from me. So that's how the journey started.
Kind of naturally knew how to do it initially, how to kind of overcome challenges. So, like, would you be kind to like, and then obviously you stepped into this karate, area in your life, and I want you to share with us, how can one overcome their challenges when they don't know karate? Like, what is it that, because obviously knowing the art helps you, knowing the art helps you get some confidence, some sort of weight, walking around. You kind of know, like, well, I got the strength, I got the skill. But mentally, a lot of people don't have the capacity to do it. So, what is it that would you recommend? How does one overcome challenges mentally, emotionally?
Well, if you're training in an art where you have superior karate people, extremely powerful karate people, and you're training with them, right? This is a different level of karate people with enormous talent, incredible talent, and you're faced with them on the floor. You know what? When you face people outside that spectrum, it's not a challenge anymore. It becomes easy. When I initially went to Japan, my karate was mediocre. It probably still is mediocre anyway. So it was mediocre. And having learned from Gogen sensei, Toguchi sensei, Sugimoto sensei, and so on, learning from them, you get it's a natural thing to have this confidence, because they've taught me how to overcome fear and never be afraid. I remember the one time I got kicked by Sakamoto on the groin, and I lifted in the air. I was in the air and fell on my back. And any ordinary person, I'm not saying I'm a Superman, but any ordinary person would have laid down on the ground and suffered in pain and in agony. Ask any man, they'll tell you that. If they get kicked on the groin, it's enormous pain. But I was up on my feet immediately after. And Sakamoto said to me, he said, "Daijoubu desu ka?" I said, "Daijoubu desu." He said, "Are you okay to go?" I said, "Yes, ready to go." He was surprised that a kick like that, because I never gave up. I never gave up.
But let me ask you this. What was the thought behind it? When you're like in that pain and you like kind of your brain goes in all sort of direction, like you just kind of, there's the pain, there's the like, there's the anger, there's the everything that's happening. What was the thought that came to mind that made you go like, I'm just gonna like get up and continue?
Cristina, no pain. No pain. I mean, pain is something that you engage with, right? You engage with when you get hurt. For instance, now I do this on a regular basis. If I go past and I kick a table, for instance, I keep walking. I don't stop. Oh, I got hurt and I'm jumping. No. I keep walking. If I knock my elbow, knock my fingers, or twist my hand or anything, I just keep going without any thought. Takahashi did something wonderful, amazing. He was kicking a makiwara board, and the makiwara board split, and the metal went through between his toes and cut him, right? All he did was, he didn't even limp, just walked to the water, put his foot under the tap, washed the blood, and that was it. No pain. So there comes a stage when you develop this kind of power that pain is body. Pain is body. And you're not the body, right? You're not the body. You're not, you're energy. And if you can say, I am not the body, there's no more pain. It's
Okay.
only
So
when you start recognizing yourself as body, there's pain.
you don't think it has to do with like raising your tolerance to pain from all the kicks and the training you do, or it's a combination of both?
Well, I suppose it was an automatic tolerance. You give up. You give up. You give up and you go away and you start crying for mommy. Don't give up. I don't know what it is to give up, Christina. I got no idea what it is to give up. No matter the challenges. I had so many challenges in my life. I don't know how to give up. I
So
never give up. I never give in. I just keep going.
so tell me, what is the biggest challenge you had in your karate journey? What was the one that like might have hit you the most, or had the biggest impact?
Okay. Okay. Now, karate is three phases: physical, mental, and spiritual, right? So I went to South Africa and I learned about the physical challenges, right? Violence. And I developed the skills. I came to Australia, I was faced with mental challenges, right? I was put into situations where I was mentally challenged by people who were jealous and had hatred and dislike and had ego problems and everything else that wanted to challenge me to destroy me, right? So I I just was able to look at these and think that the person that is throwing these challenges at me, right? It's only a verbal and mental thing. It's not affecting me physically. So I was able to be stronger. I was stronger than them because I believed in myself. I believed in the divine, and I had no fear no matter what they did. But unfortunately, my students didn't have the same kind of feeling as I did. When they were saying people were talking about you and saying adverse things about you, uh, they were traumatized, and I wasn't traumatized. I said, don't worry about it, let it go. They say, oh, people are writing things about you they're saying this, that, and the other. Oh, don't worry about it. Why do you worry about it so much? I said to them, do you trust me? Do you trust me? They said, yes. Then I said, if you really trust me, you wouldn't bother about what others are saying. So let us be firm. Let us be strong. Let's do this thing. And I'll tell everybody this without a shadow of doubt. When the Japanese came to my dojo, my students were better than the Japanese. The Japanese instructor said that to the students. He says, you guys, grade for grade, are better than the Japanese. And it's true. When you look at my students on the floor, even today, amazing karate people, extraordinary karate people, that's because of the kind of teachings that I'm sharing, right? So the mental challenges that people were throwing at me didn't affect me as it affected my students. Didn't affect me as much. I was able to overcome these challenges. I mean, people would denigrate me in so many ways, so many different ways. I would be called to forums to talk. I remember the one time they said, they called me to a forum, and this was with one of the schools that I was associated with, called me to a forum, and they said, oh, who gives you the right to give people such high grades? Who gives you the right to give people such high grades? These guys had no idea about anything. They didn't do their homework. They just wanted to belittle me and make me look weak and silly. So I paused for a second, and then I said, look, this grade was given to me by my teacher, and is 2IC sitting here today, gave me the authority to give grades to people. Grades, and I've been given that authority to give this high grades. So these guys that didn't do any homework whatsoever turned their heads to the two I see, and he said, yes, we did. We have given him that authority to give these grades. So everybody was quiet. So I won without even fighting with them. I didn't even raise my hand. You know, I won the battle. So like that, I had all these challenges.
So when facing with, leaders and people with influence, people that have power, right? Um, and obviously, if it's someone above you, it makes it a bit hard to challenge them, or to you know sometimes it's a bit hard. You don't know how to oppose them, you don't know what to do. So what would you recommend someone that has this problem, with a leader, with someone in power? How should one proceed? What they should do?
Okay. Now this world is a mixture of people. Is a mixture of good people, and there's a good mixture of bad people of different levels, right? You have this situation of ego. When you look at a scale, if I draw a line down the middle, in the middle, if I draw a line across the middle, now that is the ordinary human being. Above that is the cosmic human being who likes to serve and help others, and then the divine human being. Now, below that line of ordinary human being, you have the animalistic type of human being, and you have the demonic type of human being. So we in this world have to live with all these different levels of human people. All these different, they have different vibrational frequencies, they have different mentalities, they're influenced by different things, they have egos about themselves, and some don't, of course. So we are faced with leaders that come from all these different categories of human beings. Now, some human beings are bullies. They naturally bully. They want to bully because of their ego, because they want to be on the limelight. They bully other people into submission. So in the same forum, when I was talking to this highly graded people sitting in front of me, it was like an FBI interrogation. There was a light above my head. I'm sitting on a chair, and all these people in front of me, and they're questioning me. It was a joke, really. I mean, looking at this is not the way we operate as human beings. So I was sitting there and listening to these guys questioning me and throwing questions at me. And the one guy said, how dare you talk this way? Because he didn't like my answers. He says, do you want to fight? Now imagine, these are karate leaders. These are leaders that are teaching people karate, which is supposed to be discipline, respect, self-control, all these good things. And here's a leader sitting in this forum saying, do you want to fight? I looked at him with absolute, it mesmerized me, because it was so silly. This fool in this forum wants to fight. Now, is that normal human attitude? So how do you deal with that? Do you get up and reduce yourself to his level? Do you get down, say, okay, we'll fight. There's something to prove here. Let's get on the floor and fight. Or do you just look at it with disgust and say, this guy needs help? So in my mind, I didn't want to deal with the situation because I didn't want that energy to be part of me. I kept silent. And after the meeting, when I went away, this guy ran after me and apologized for his behavior amongst all his friends. He was too much a coward. He was too much a coward not to say sorry with the other people there because of his ego. But he seemed like he wanted to make friends with me afterwards and apologize to me on the quiet. So I knew immediately he was not really a leader, was he? I wouldn't act like that. I wouldn't act like that.
That's right. So Marshall is asking, he says, thank you, Hanshi. This is a karate business question. I have had direct experience with martial art organizations that have demanded fees to the breakaway club, even though they have left the organization with threats of removing grades from the instructor. How do you deal with that?
Yeah.
Great
Yeah,
question,
that's
Marshall.
interesting. When I immigrated to Australia, I had students come to my front door. They weren't students. They heard about me. They came to my front door and they said, "We want to learn karate. We heard you're a karate master. We'd like to learn karate from you." And I said, "I'm busy trying to make a living. I don't have the time." Eventually, they kept coming back, and eventually I said, "Okay, look." I told them, "All right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to teach you karate on two conditions. The first condition, it's free. And the second condition is because they wanted to become pub fighters. They said they wanted to become pub fighters. That's why they wanted to do karate." So I said, "Okay, as long as I come with you to the pub on Fridays and I teach you for free on those two conditions, I will teach you." Right? Because the reason I did that is because I was going to educate these guys to be better people. Right? No money, absolutely no money. Those 25 of them, I ran a school in Blacktown, totally free. Now, a guy from an organization that I was associated with from Japan, his person in New South Wales demanded $30 from me for every student because he heard I started a school. And I said, "Look, I'm not charging people any money. It's free." He said, "No, you have to pay." So I said, "Why do I have to pay? Nobody paid for my training in Japan. Nobody paid for my loss of salary. Nobody paid me any money. Nobody paid for my food and my upkeep while I was in Japan. I trained 8 hours a day, 6 days a week, funding myself. I landed in Australia, New South Wales, and this person is demanding $30 of me for people that are training with me that I'm doing it free of charge." So what did I do? I say to them, I said, "Look, I'm not charging these guys. It's free of charge. I am helping these young people to become better people." "No," was the answer. "You got to pay. You got to pay because you belong to the school that's connected to you in Japan." I said, "I am not with you. I have my own school." So I just point blank refused. And I said, "I am on my own. I'm on my own. I deal with nobody." So, Niran Marshall, I must say to you that if people take a strong stance in believing in themselves, they don't need teachers. They don't need to bend for anybody. If they believe in themselves, just stand your ground and do your stuff. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, yes, totally. So, Dominic is saying fighting, this is a real issue within the martial arts and beyond communities. So, within the martial arts communities, ego and the lack of teachings of how one should behave. And then he was also asking earlier, he was asking about when we talked about the, pain tolerance, he said, "I have built up my tolerance to pain via conditioning. However, I think, Hanshi, you are referring to the power of the mind, which is a higher level of pain management." Do you want to
Yeah.
just explore, like, just go a little bit more deeper
Yeah,
into?
I think it's mind over matter, right? Mind over matter. So your body is matter, right? Your mind is what receives information, right? So what I do is I block the information. I block the information. So if I kick a table, for instance, I don't go, "Ouch." I keep walking. I keep walking. I don't say, "Ouch, I'm in pain." or I'm screaming. I avoid that because I block the information from coming through to affect me.
So
So,
how can one, for example, I feel pain when I kick a table, and I have, you know,
well,
I have done some really, cool things in my life, but if I kick a table, I go ouch, any bruises.
okay,
So
okay.
how can I learn that? Like what did you have to do to get to that level? Obviously that I don't know if anyone else in here, is it that, but I certainly am not, and I would definitely would like not to feel the pain when I kick the table.
Okay, what I did once, I had a candle. I lit a candle in front of me, and I said to the light, I'm one with you. And I put my hand over the candle while the flame was burning. I didn't get burnt. I didn't get burnt. But the moment I thought it's fire, the moment I thought it was fire, I got burnt. I had to put my hand away. That was a test of my mind. But when I thought of the connection between the flame and myself, I didn't get burnt. When I lost the connection, I got burnt. So what I'm trying to say is, it's just the mind, right? Take the mind out of the equation. You take the mind out of the equation, there's no more pain. If you allow the mind to be part of that, then there's pain.
Um, cool. I love his comment. He said, "I'm lucky I won't feel anything if I kick a table." So, but all right. So I can totally understand what you're saying, because I had an experience, a few years ago when I walked on really hot coals, right? And I was asked before, like, are you gonna do it? And I said, I don't know. Like, it sounds a bit crazy, but other people have done it, so I must be able to do it as well with the right guidance, right? So if I'll have tried to do it on my own, I will have not really got that far without burning myself. But because, I have been, sort of taught, how to do it in a safe way. And it was a bit of a self hypnosis, right? I was just telling myself something and keeping my focus in a like, different way, like on something else. And because I did that, I actually didn't think about me stepping on the hot coals, which is exactly what it confirms what you just said. If you're not really focusing on that, because the moment you get out of that trance, that's when you feel the pain. So
Yeah.
I can totally see how it's so true what you're saying. Looking back at my own experience, I can totally see how that is possible. And you know what? I am really determined to try from now on. I don't know if anyone else is excited to try that, but I might kick a few tables, on my way to the kitchen just to train myself.
Well, you practice every day, kicking the table. Eventually, you get out of pain, I think.
Or I break the table, right? Yeah. So I just wanted to say to everyone, for those of you that are not familiar with the chat box, you can, just place the word question in the chat box, and then I'll know to create the opportunity for you to ask the question, or you can, just type in the question if you don't want to do it verbally. So, then I'll know, just ask Hanshi. So, Hanshi, you had great success in karate. And how did you do it? Like, what made you successful at it?
Well, I think dedication. I think the fact that I had students in karate. Well, this is karate is just one of the successes I've made, and everything that I attempted, anything that I attempted, I never gave up with. I just continually worked on reaching that goal. If I start anything, I had to finish. I never went halfway and said, oh, it's too hard, I can't get it. There was no such thing. There wasn't a thing called can't do anything. I always put my mind to it, focused on it, and did it. So no matter the challenges that I faced, there was a lot of challenges that I faced not to go through and become successful, but I never gave up. So when I worked for Vision Australia, I had, I'll tell you one little story. I had two clients of mine, two young men that were didn't have parents anymore. Their parents had died young, and these guys were out in the street, and they've become sight impaired and without much. So they joined Vision Australia for assistance to work. And so when they came to our service, my colleagues found they didn't only have problems with vision, they had cognitive problems, they have intellectual problems, mental issues, mental challenges, and it was enormous. So my colleagues, and I was the national coordinator for Vision Australia at the time, training people how to get people without vision or low vision to get jobs. So my colleagues decided that they will move these guys to another service because they couldn't help them anymore. So I said, no, we never give up on people. We never give up. If people come to us, we never give up on them. And I said, look, give me the resumes, I'll get the jobs for them. So what I did, I got the resumes and I went to the first company. I noticed, I checked the railway system, how these guys are going to be traveling to and from work, which area would suit them, and then I targeted that area. So I walked into one company and I said to the company, I said, look, I have a client that has vision challenges, but is able to see things and is able to put things together. Have you got an opportunity here? So the managing director said, can you put the four parts together? And I said, yes, you'll be able to do that. Cutting a long story short, I got this guy a job in that company. I then went to another company, and my friend Michael was the managing director of that company. And I said to Michael, Michael, I got a client that you can use. And he said, oh, what can your client with vision problems do here? I said, look, give this guy a chance. There's plastic and there's cardboard on the floor. This guy can pick it up and keep everything clean and tidy. And, you know, I see there's forklifts running around, nothing will happen. So the guy said, no, my guys will pick all it up. You know, I don't need your guy. Anyway, I went back to the office. It took me about an hour. When I got to the office, he called me. He said, bring your guy in tomorrow. And I said, what happened? What changed your mind? He said, the moment you left, one of the forklifts ran over a plastic bag. It jammed the engine. It's now going to cost us $2,000 to get fixed. So what happened? The divine helped me. The divine helped me. It made the situation happen, and I was able to get this client a job. Now, I went back to my colleagues and I said, those two guys that you wanted to move to another service, they are working starting tomorrow. So what I'm trying to say to people is believe, and you can do anything. Trust, and you can do anything. Nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible.
Dominic is saying, never give up. It's the key point to being successful at anything one tries. You may not succeed straight away, but perseverance is key. And just to add to that, what you just said, you know, I know there are quite a few people that that they actually have success, but they seem to never be recognized for it, you know, for their efforts, for where they're at. You know, what do you have to say about that? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
have you ever been in that position, and how did you personally overcome that situation?
yeah. But it's really a long answer, I think. You know what? As long as you know, as long as you feel in yourself, it doesn't matter what other people think about you. Okay, let me give you an example. When I was reaching great success in my karate, I had a situation where Sean Grant from Queensland, he was going to be on the forum today, but unfortunately couldn't make it. He wrote a series of articles about me, 4 magazines. It was called the Bujitsu magazine. And he wrote my story about my life in Japan and the successes I reached and so on. So it was very, very nicely written, I must say, and everybody reading it would have been very excited to read my success stories. So one gentleman in particular got copies of this magazine and then sent it over to a particular school in Japan. And when that master had come to Australia for a holiday, he brought out his magazines and he said to the master, look, this guy has been talking about himself, referring to me, about all these untrue stories and all his successes. You know, can you enlighten us and tell us about this? So the idea of this guy was to denigrate me and make me look bad and prove to everybody sitting in that group that I was telling lies about my successes, right? And which people do. So out of jealousy, out of ego, out of hate and anger and so on, right? So anyway, the master got up from his chair and he says, man, you sent me copies of that magazines. I read them all. They all true. So why don't you leave this man alone? So what happened? My successes spoke for itself. I was true. I didn't lie about my successes. I was, that's what I think people need to do, is to believe in what they do and feel it within themselves and don't worry about what people have to say. Like, yeah, in this instance, this guy tried to prove that my successes was not, I was just making it up. I hope I'm answering your question. So anyway, and it was proven that he was the liar and I was the one that was speaking the truth.
Thank you. That's very helpful. Marshall has a question. He says his question is about gradings. Many schools do not alter the grading syllabus, no matter what the age of the student. From my experience, I have seen injuries occurring with the older students, for example, 4 years up. Do you take into account the age of students within the syllabus for gradings when testing older students?
Yeah, well, with Goshinkan Karate, we only take children from 5 years old, not younger than 5, right? And to be a black belt if a child starts at 5 years old and continues for till the age of 11 or 12, then they are okay to be tested. I don't grade anybody below the age of 11 for black belt as a junior, as a kid. Was that the question, Nida Marshall? Was that what you were asking? Are you on mute? We can't hear you.
Yeah.
There we go. My question was, how do you design the syllabus slightly different for people who are older students?
Oh, I see.
Like they're 40 plus, because
right. Sorry. Yes. Okay. The children's syllabus is different to the adult syllabus, right? With the children's syllabus, we only have 16 different parts to it. Normally karate is 4 things: basics, moving, kata, kumite. 4 things. So with Goshinkan karate, with the children, we have 16 parts. I won't go through it. With the adult training, we have 29 parts, 29 systems. So we have 16 systems for children and 29 systems for adults. So when the children grade, it's a different level of grading compared to the adult grading.
Okay.
Is that answering your question, Marshall?
It's sort of more so I'm talking about the older students. Like I know that you have older students over 50 years old, so obviously they can't do the same sort of gradings as a 25-year-old does.
Oh, no, they won't. No,
yeah. So
it's different, the grading.
So how do you assess that through that time?
We assess them according to so the teachers have a syllabus for the children and they have a syllabus for the adults. So when an adult is grading, that they are grading on different things. A child is grading on different things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you, Hanshi.
Like for instance, a child will be grading on the basic things, right? Basic, punching, blocking, kicking, striking, and so on. An adult will be grading on a combination of things, like block, punch, block, punch, or something like that. It'll be a combination rather than a single technique. Yeah, it's completely different, completely different.
But I think I'm not sure if I understood correctly from Marshall. I think what he means is like an older person might not be able to have the same level of intensity and energy because the body.
Oh, okay.
So the body doesn't allow, like I'm not the spring chicken anymore. Like I'm not running around like I was when I was 20, right? And even when I do my dancing in the car, right, I'm sitting down, which is easy. So I think what he's referring, is that right, Marshall? Like you're referring to that?
Yes, of course.
So
You got to
like
use this.
if you're gonna, you got the same standards for someone that's 25, which obviously has a completely different force, right? Compared to someone that's 55 or 60. I mean, I know that, for you it doesn't matter because you still have that strength and not everybody's you, right? So how would you grade, the rest of, people? Would you have different standards for different age groups, so to speak?
Yeah, I haven't actually come to that point because my oldest student was 82 years old and he went through the same thing with everybody else. And he passed with flying colors and he got his full shodan.
So do you think it comes down again to the part of the mind?
I got it recorded on video and I'm happy to send it to you, Nita and Marshall. You can have a look at it. He was 82 years old, 82 years old and strong and powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, look, even at my age, at almost 73, I'm heading towards 73 now. I'm still reasonably fit. My pulse rate is 48. I can do innumerable push-ups and sit-ups and, but not recently because I've been sitting at home over this COVID thing. But when I'm back in the dojo, I'll get back into shape, I suppose. Yeah. I have no difficulty with it. And some of the students here would tell you that I get on the floor and I spar with them without any problems at all.
So you think that you never really stop progressing as long as you really are clear about what is it that you want, right? If somebody doesn't want to stop and wants to keep going, right? So you think that the body is just going to listen to the mind and keep going?
Yeah, well, my experience tells me that, right? It's like that flame and the hand over the flame. The moment you think it's a flame, right, you get burnt, right? So I don't believe to do anything. I don't get my students to do anything I can't do. I will do it so that they can learn from it, right? So with me, I always try and do everything I teach. And I never give up on it. Yeah.
So I know, just from knowing it that, you're so loved and appreciated and admired for what you do. Paula is saying, and I think this is leading perfectly in what Paula is asking, she says, can you please tell the story of when a large portion of your students left due to a negative influential person, but then all of them returned?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Oh, that's a good story, Paula. And I must thank Paula, because Paula is the one that instigated that encouraged me to do this talk today. And I thank you, Paula. Thank you for the question. Thank you because I wanted to tell my story for a long time, and I kept very silent about it, and you inspired me to do that. So when all this, my dojos were growing. I had 450 students. I had 13 dojos. Everything was going wonderfully well. And of course, somebody had to come along from the outside and spoil things. So there were articles in magazines about me and talk about me. With the result, my students heard these stories, and they approached me and they said, we're hearing all these things about you. Can you explain it to us? And I said, these are all untruths. Whoever's trying to denigrate me is doing it for another purpose rather than a good purpose. And so anyway, this continued. And so eventually I had to get these students together and say to them, I say, look, it's sad that you guys are coming together with this kind of thinking. I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to leave my entire dojos to all of you people. And I'm going to walk away from this. And you guys run it. Because I'm tired of explaining. I'm tired of telling the truth. Nobody's listening to me. I'm gone. So I packed up my things. Uprooted my family and moved to another state. I went to live on Tamarind Mountains, which is heaven on earth, really, for 6 months. Had nothing to do with karate, just gave up on everything, left the dojos to those students, disgruntled students who were listening to other people, and stayed there for 6 months. Then I got knocks on my door, on my front door. I never told anybody where I lived. People found me, my students found me, and they said, please come back, we're missing you. These guys that are running the school got no idea what they're doing. So I said, well, time to go back. So I packed up my things, and my poor wife had to load the trucks with my children. And then we came back to Sydney to live. And my 450 students had gone, my 13 dojos had disappeared. And I came back to 2 dojos. 2 dojos with just under 100 students. And I started again. Because I believed in myself. I believed what I did before, I can do again. And today, I'm teaching thousands of people.
Yes. So what do you think made the difference? What do you think people follow you? What makes them come back, despite what was said, about you? What made them come back? What made them want to follow you? What did they see?
Yeah, because when the students left me, some of them had gone to the guy that was teaching the art, that was complaining about me and saying incorrect things. So they went to his school and they practiced with him. And they found an arrogant man, a very arrogant man, a person that only knew what he knew because of his ego. His ego was telling him that he knew all that. So they were disillusioned. They said, oh my goodness, we made a mistake. We made a mistake. We left this wonderful teacher. I got writings from them to say that they said they made a mistake, a terrible mistake to have left me and gone there. And some of them came back. I didn't accept all of them. I must tell you, I didn't accept all of them when they returned. I said, we'll be friends, but you stay there and I'll stay here.
So what made the difference? Like, what took you to have the success that you had, with your schools? What does one need, in order to overcome all the challenges, all this kind of energy, all this kind of sayings, and just literally continue to have success, having students, following, coming, like exactly how it happened to you? What is that one secret? What is the one thing? What is it that, people are listening now to you and, they get inspired? And what is the one thing that they really need to know about that?
It's
Besides,
it's called Divine, divine. Because I believe in the divine. I believe the divine is in me and the divine is in all things. I believe in the divine. I'm not calling the divine God or anything. The divine is love. I see, the guy that has done all the bad things to me, I can hug him today. I can hug him today and say, it's okay. It's okay. If he comes to me, I will hug him and say, it's okay. Because the divine is in him too, as the divine is in me. But he cannot do that. And he won't do that because the problem is he has a thing called the ego. His ego won't allow him to do that. But mine is no ego. Mine is love for everybody. I love everything, everything. Today at the driveway, I was reversing my car. I was going to take my car out. I had to go to the shop to buy something. And I looked at the driveway and I saw 4 ants on the driveway. So I went to my garage, took a piece of paper and pushed them to the grass, pushed them to the side before I took my car out. Because my love for the creature is the same as I love human beings. That's me. The divine protects me, Cristina. The divine protects me. It guides me. When I worked for Vision Australia, they couldn't even get 7 jobs a year for people with blindness and low vision. 7 jobs a year. It was a record to get 7 a year. When I joined Vision Australia, the highest number I got in a single month was 11 jobs for people that are blind and low vision. Nobody in the history of Vision Australia did it. I got so many jobs for people that are blind that the star rating of Vision Australia became 5 stars, 75% above national average. Nobody in the history of Vision Australia has done it. They made me national coordinator to teach the whole staff from the south to the north how to do what I do. It's because I love people. I love people. I see love in my clients. I see love in my enemies.
and people can feel that and see that, and obviously that's why they follow you. So tell me, is this belief system that got you to, come up with SMA? Is this like what got you to really, the believing in divine, the divine is always with you? And is this what kind of got you into, creating SMA?
Well, I must thank Tina for that. Tina had an interview with me and she was marveled at this thing. She said, whoa, this is amazing stuff that you're sharing with me. You should do it as a course. I said, whoa, what a great idea. I got behind my computer. In 15 minutes, I wrote out the program for SMA leadership. 15 minutes.
So that's quite impressive for sure, and I certainly had an awesome experience with your course, and so are all the other people that I have done it. Um, Tell me, how big was the influence of who had the most influence? I think most people know that, but who had the most influence in your life? Who is the one person that you kind of feel like you really, really on, everything to?
All right. Okay. Let me tell you a little story then. I hope you like stories. I was sitting in an ashram in India, and after the service, I went up on a hill, right up on the top of the hill, and I sat down. I sat down and I said, let me meditate. So I sat down in quiet meditation in this beautiful place called Puttapati. And I sat down on the hill there and I meditated, feeling absolutely relaxed. And suddenly I heard a voice. It said, get out your pad and pen. I said, opened my eyes. Who's talking to me? I looked around. Nobody's talking to me. I don't take drugs. I don't have alcohol. I don't smoke. I don't do anything of that sort. And there's a voice talking to me. Where's this voice coming from? And then I realized that the voice was inside me. So I closed my eyes again. The voice said, get out your pad and pen. So I opened my eyes, got out my pad and pen, and it said, write the word goodness. I wrote the word goodness. Now, I'm a high school dropout. I couldn't even put a sentence together. And I started writing. As this voice was dictating, I was writing. And I wrote this beautiful stanza, and I looked at it and said, whoa, this is amazing stuff. I saw a Canadian teacher afterwards, and I said, have a read of this. He said, where did you get this from? He read it. He said, wow, this is beautiful. I said, I just wrote it on the top. I heard this voice. He thought there was something wrong with my head, I suppose. I don't know. Anyway, I said, no, I heard this voice, and it made me write this. So, and then the next day I went up on the hill and I said, let me try this trick again. And I wrote something else. And the following day I wrote something else. And then I said, what am I going to do with all this beautiful stuff? Make it into a martial arts book. So I wrote my first book called Discovering Martial Arts out of that. So where do I get my inspiration from? It's within me.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So you're channeling it.
I'm channeling myself. I am one.
That's right. So Paula is asking, how did you get a copy of your book?
How does she want to get a copy? Which one? There's 13 of them.
I'm not sure. Paula, can you unmute yourself? Because I'm not sure I understand.
I have plenty of copies.
I need to get, no. I'm just reminding you, the negative influential man, remember, he obtained a copy of your book.
Oh, yes.
I want you to tell that part of the story.
Yeah, that's a good story. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Thanks,
a wonderful
Hanshi.
story.
It's really inspiration. Thank you. Yeah.
I love that story, Paula. I love that story.
I know.
Hey, Cristina, have we got 2 hours?
My partner is going to starve to death. He's waiting for me for dinner.
Tell him to go on a diet. There's a good reason for him to go on a diet, Anyway, let me tell you the story. So what happened? Paula, this is a great story. Yeah. So when I wrote this book, I met a Japanese lady at one of the functions, and I started speaking to them, and I said I wrote this book called Discovering Martial Arts, and the lady said, oh, I'd love to have a copy. And so I brought a copy to her, and then she says, oh, I got a Japanese friend, a Japanese master, karate master, and I'm sure he'd love a copy. So I gave her 2 copies, and it took the copies away with her. And then what happened was she then gave it to this karate master. So gave this copy to this karate master, and after about 6 weeks, this master rang me, and he said to me, he said, "Oh, you're a student of Gogen Yamaguchi sensei." I said, "Yes." He says, "You're a graduate of the Japan Karate Do College." I said, "Yes." He says, "I know all the karate people, but I don't know you." I said, "Well, I don't publish myself. I don't talk about myself much." And so he said, "Can I have 25 books?" I said, "Yes. As a matter of fact, I got a few books in my car, and I'll give you 25 books." So I gave him 25 books. So he said, "Okay, I'm going to give a copy of this book to somebody." He mentioned the guy's name, and I said, "Okay." He said, "Can you sign it for him?" And I signed it. And now this guy was one of the trouble causers in my life. So he gave him the book. And I gave the Japanese master the signed copy, and he gave it to this guy that was a trouble causer in my life, that caused me a lot of problems. Anyway, so this Japanese master, I haven't heard from this guy for a little while, and he phoned him. And he said, "What do you think about the book that I gave you?" He says, "Oh, yeah, it's an amazing book. But that man that wrote it didn't really write it, did he?" So what do you mean? He said, "No, he didn't write that book. It's not him." And this guy said, "No, it is him." He said, No, that's not him. He's not like that. It's not possible for him to write a book like this. So, and it goes to show that when people are envious and jealous, and they have all issues with their ego, it's very hard for them to accept other people's successes. It's very hard. Is that okay, Paula? I probably said it a little bit differently to you earlier.
So, Hanshi, do you have any memorabilia of your teacher?
Oh, absolutely. I got a stone vase. I got a, let me see. I got my teacher's kimono, his kimono, yeah, that his family gave me. His family gave me the kimono when my teacher had passed away, and I visited Japan, and the daughter and the mother brought this kimono and said, "This is my father's kimono, please have it." So, it's wonderful that I have that. Then I have a stone vase. It's in this box. It's all tied up. It's a stone vase that my teacher used to, made out of solid stone, that my teacher used to, I'll open it up. My teacher used to take it out of this vase. He used to take it out of the vase, and solid stone. There's a hollow in the middle there. I got some tissue in there, and he used to feel it every day and put it back in the box. Can you see it?
Yes, we can, yeah.
Yeah, so that was given to me by the family. And there's one other thing that I have. That I was going to tell you. One of my teacher's sons told me when I was visiting Japan, he said to me that I am the finest, the best karate teacher out of South Africa, and one of the finest in the world, he said. And I was shocked by this, and I said, he's making such a big statement. I was shocked that he would say something like that.
So who was this?
The teacher's son, yeah, the teacher's son. And So he was upset. He was really angry, you know. And then he went to the kitchen and he got a knife. And he got a knife, and then he put his hand out like this, and he went cut. He cut his hand right in front of me. And there was blood everywhere. And he took out his belt and he says, "Do you believe me?" I said, "What do I say?" I said, "Yes, I believe you." He took the belt and he put it on my neck, and he says, "We are now brothers.
Wow.
This is the belt."
Mm.
And it still has blood stains on it.
Is that must be like a very, is that like the most profound one of the most, profound memories you must have of
He
of
cut
his
his
son?
hand with this knife. He just went cut like that. I said, "Whoa, what is this?" Everybody was shocked. They're all standing around me. And we were shocked and said, "Whoa." I mean, he made such a statement. You know what? My ego won't allow me. I mean, my mind won't allow this ego, for him to make such a statement, "You're the finest instructor out of South Africa and one of the finest in the world," to say that, I never thought anybody would say a thing like that. And yet it was.
So what did the Japanese thought of your school?
Oh, they
Because
absolutely loved it. Sorry?
they came to visit, right? What did they say?
They just loved it. They said, grade for grade, my students were better than the Japanese.
Oh, wow.
Grade
So
for grade, my students are better than the Japanese.
are you planning to go to Japan anytime soon?
No, not really. My focus now is in India. My focus in India, we got thousands of students in India. India is the mother of karate. And karate started in India, moved to China, to Okinawa, to Japan. India's karate is not so good. I've been there on a visit. I watched them train. The poor souls don't have many good teachers. And I think it's time that I taught India and lifted India up. So we're now got land, 2 acres. As a matter of fact, they rectified it today. We've got 5 acres of land near Kolkata Airport, donated by one of the parents, 5 acres, 1 hour from the airport, given to us for Goshin Khan to build a university, a karate university, teaching the physical karate, mental karate, and spiritual development, which I call Sanatana Dharma. It's about goodness and love and respect and discipline and so on. So that's what's happened. Today, they confirmed 5 acres.
Wow, that's exciting.
It is exciting. So, when you do good work, good things happen, right? Now, I had to wait a long time for this to happen. And look at the challenges I only told you part of it. The challenges I had by people that, did so much they tried so hard, but how are you going to fight with the divine? You can't fight with the divine. You can't fight against truth. You cannot fight against truth. Truth is the most powerful energy. If you believe in truth, you're sincere, and you believe in the divine, nothing can harm you.
What do you think your mission here on this earth has been or is?
I was born to be a teacher. But a different teacher, a teacher of karate, but also to teach spirituality, to revive this art, to give it back to India and say, look, this art has to be refined by you, and then sent out to the world. I'm going to be teaching India and making teachers out of India, and those teachers are going to be helping the rest of the world to become better karate people. No more tournaments. It's all about traditional stuff. It's all about learning how to protect themselves. It's about the mind, how to control the mind, how to meditate correctly, and about spirituality, which is love.
So Dominic said, I'm hoping Hanshi mentions his wife. I bet she has been very influential.
Well, without her, I wouldn't have done half the things I've done. She's been my backbone, my supporter, my harshest critic. My harshest critic, I'm telling you.
Now, before we conclude this conversation, does anyone wants to ask any question? If you want, just please unmute yourself, Bill.
Yeah, I actually like Marshall to tell the story of the book that he got, his own words, so nobody knows that I'm making up the book that he received at the martial arts shop at Cladesville. I won't tell him the whole story.
No, you've done really well.
He's going to tell that story out of his mouth.
Oh, thank you. Talk about being put on the spot. Okay, I went to a martial arts world, Gladesville, looking for a book because I wanted to find a book had substance in martial arts, something that's deeper. I've been training for many, many years, and I just wanted to find more about the spiritual aspect of it. And I was looking through, leaning over, looking at some books from some famous writers, and this book fell on my head and fell into my arms, and it was one of Hanshi's books. And I've carried that every single day with me since.
Oh, what a beautiful story.
But it was very influential, and it also just.
So I'm going to show you the book. This is the book.
That's the one.
Can you see it? I don't know.
Really?
Can you see it?
No, it's not a clear picture. Yeah. Yes. What's the name of it?
Budoka.
Budoka, yeah.
And from that book, basically, I contacted Hanshi and got some more of his books, and we've become talking friends for a long while.
You know, when Marshall met me at Castle Towers to sign the book, he pulled out this book and he opened the pages, and I saw green lines and pink lines and red lines and blue lines all across the book, and he was marking this book. I said, "My God," he says, and I asked him, "Why are you marking the book?" He says, the most important ones are this color and so on and so on. Oh my God, I've never seen a book with so much marks in it. And he says, I carry the book around with me like a Bible. So
all right, so Hanshi, now if nobody else has any other question, you wanna know?
Senpai Tim got anything to say? He's been very silent there in the background.
Some people are camera shy.
Hi. Look, I've been listening to tonight, and thanks very much. I remember the time when Sensei, when Hanshi left the dojos to his students and went to Mount Tambourine, and then came back and was traveling. You know, initially he was commuting from Queensland, you know, every week. It was crazy. I don't know how he did it. But you know, it was a very devastating and tumultuous time, because Hanshi seemed to have lost everything as far as his karate was concerned. Though the club he'd built, the organisation he built up, these students who he had given everything to had walked off because someone had said a lot of bad things about him, and they believed this person, and they didn't believe Hanshi. But the thing that struck me about Hanshi was that he continued teaching just very quietly, out of the limelight, and he always had trust in doing the right thing, you know, truth, right conduct. And so regardless of what was going on, this is what he was doing. he was teaching this thing of Dharma, which is right conduct. And this just continued. There was never any bitterness. It was just do the right thing, work hard for the students, and teach really good values. And it's my personal opinion that all that time he was doing that, now you have this person who you see today who has all this knowledge and information, who can communicate this stuff to everybody. Because I think one of the big messages is, if you keep doing the right thing, if you keep working at it, if you keep trusting in doing the right thing, that it pays off. It pays off in the end. That's my comment.
That is so beautiful of you to share, team. Thank you so much. I think everybody could really, process that in through their own experiences, and I think it was very nice, to. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. That touched me. I know it did. I felt your honesty, and I felt what you're saying. It went straight into my heart. So, so beautiful for you to share. Thank you. Is anyone else that wants to say anything before we conclude this evening? No? So then, Hanshi, what's your last word? What is it, something so the theme tonight was how to overcome challenges. You certainly had quite a bit of them throughout your life. What is it that you would like to sort of, is it something that you'd like to say before? I think Jawasa, he wants to say something. Jawasa?
Well, I'm off video. I can't see myself anyway. I can't see myself.
You just need to turn your camera on.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, here you are.
Oh,
Here you
yes. He's from Kenya.
Yeah.
Isn't that beautiful?
I know. Yeah, I know. He's in the group as well. So.
Well, it's stuck. Okay.
It's okay. It's okay. We can see you.
I'm from Kenya. And I've been a student of Hanshi from 2015. So mine is to thank Hanshi and the rest. And I appreciate everything that Hanshi is doing to us as our teacher. So thank you very, very much to everyone. And Hanshi, please continue doing the good work teaching us.
That was beautiful.
Okay, the communications is not so good, but we got your message. Yeah, thank you.
So fine.
Yeah, I think his connection is not very good, unfortunately, which is why his camera is not on either. But
yes.
Yeah, and Dominic wants to say something.
Yeah. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
You can, yeah. Well, firstly, good morning from the UK here. To everyone.
Good morning.
I just really want to say, Hanshi made a good point, and he has through his books, and it's about what he's talking about earlier about what attracts people to Hanshi. I've been involved with various martial arts organisations, connecting into them, and what Hanshi has is what I call the overall package. It has the martial arts skills physically, but the spirituality and how you should behave. That whole package is quite a rarity, I've found when I've been on my travels. I visit different places as well. And I think for me, the inspiration and the quite basic message of love and behaving in the right way will always see you through. And not when you're doing things for people, don't expect something back. But what I've found when I've changed my behavior since knowing Hanshi is that automatically the universe seems to reward me for what I do. I don't expect something, but good things have been happening since I changed my behaviour to just doing what you can do to help people. So I just want to get that message over to Hanshi. Has made an incredible difference to not just my life, but my family's life and people around me, because of his teachings.
That is so beautiful.
Isn't
Thank you
that
so much.
wonderful? That's really beautiful. Really beautiful.
Is anyone else that wants to say anything?
They're all camera shy, I think.
Well, you certainly have touched our hearts, in many different ways. I know you certainly did touch my life, my son's life. And, I know a few of the people that are present here, and I know that, every single person here is here because they can see the value that you have to offer and, what you're bringing into this world. And, the way you're showing up, it's definitely an inspiration to everyone. And yeah, is it any last few words that you'd like to say, Hanshi, to everybody that's listening, will listen, everybody that's here?
Yeah, some people may wonder why at this time, I'm speaking about the past. They may wonder, why am I talking about these things that have happened? The whole idea is I want to motivate people to realize, there's a saying by J.K. Chesterton, which says, don't fight for what's in front of us. Fight for what was behind us. I think it's very important. My life, my challenges behind me has served me well to motivate other people of how they can overcome theirs. When I relate my stories to people, they say, wow, that's a great idea. This is how I should tackle my problems and my challenges. Whether we like it or not, people, we all want energy. We all want energy, body, mind, and spirit. That spirit is love. The moment we find it, and we recognize it to be in everybody, like I said to you earlier, I can hug my enemy. I can hug my enemy and say to my enemy, it's okay. It's okay. And this is the point we all have to reach. We have to reach that point where we see love in everybody. People do it only from a mind level. They do it from a mind level. It's not the heart level. The heart sings a different tune. It's only the mind. And the mind is where the ego sits. Once the ego disappears, everything is easy.
Thank you, Hanshi. That was, it was beautiful to listen to, and I just, I feel very blessed, to have been touched by your teachings, and by your energy, and yeah, I'm just deeply honored that you have invited us, to be part of this tonight. I think we all have learned something here. We are all living this conversation with, something that has impacted us in a way, or touched us in a way. So thank you for allowing us to have a snippet of your life again, and obviously listening to your, stories, always amazing stories. If no one else has anything else that they want to say, I'll just say thank you so much to everyone for being here, and thank you, Hanshi, again for sharing everything that you know.
I just
And
want to end up by saying, end up by saying, my teacher's 4 words: love all, serve all. Then he goes on to say, help ever, hurt never. Help ever, hurt never. And this is what I've been doing. No matter the challenges, I didn't think of revenge. I didn't think of, hurting the other person. Whatever they threw at me, I put up my shield of love.
Yes. Yeah, because you operated from your own values. And I think if more people, will be aware of what are those values that can take you, to live the life that you want, right? If you live accordingly, if you live your life the way you want others to respond to you, others to interact with you, then, I think one of the things that you're telling me, all the time during the course was that, do good, be good, be love, and then more it comes, right? And this is what I always try to. Sometimes when I'm triggered, I feel like I just, I just want to like get back at someone. I'm reminding myself who I am, and I know who I am, and that's what I want to respond to whatever comes at me. And I think I definitely learned that from you as well. You respond in a very different way to whatever what comes to you, rather than getting back. And there's a lot to learn from that. And if more people will do that, then well, this world will be a very different place.
Yeah, they say revenge digs 2 graves.
Yeah.
Don't seek revenge.
That's right. Well, thank you, everybody. This has been a pleasure, and we should do this again.
But I must
And
thank everybody for being, I didn't want to tell the story. We're gonna blame Paula here. I didn't want to tell my story. I didn't feel it was time, or and she said, do it. And I said, okay. Thank you, Paula.
all right. Well, thank you, everybody. Have a lovely evening, or have a beautiful day, Dominic, in UK.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's give Cristina a round of applause. Let's thank Cristina for what she did.
Thanks, Cristina.
Beautiful.
Thanks. All right, everybody. It's great to finally meet some of you, because I know you're from the group, but I haven't really got a chance to actually see you. So this was awesome. And I'm sure we'll do this again another time. All right.
Thanks, Christine.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye.